Boys, we'll get started. Obviously, welcome to episode number 3 of Champs Corner. This one is all about second part of the rise of the barking kid, Sorba Thomas, the Wonder Boy. So we're going to go through. Obviously, last one was a little bit about your academy journey, how it all started for you, and now is going to be a bit about getting in around the first team and your first team journey in Boreham, and obviously taking you to a dream move in Huddersfield, mate. So we're going to take you back. So obviously going to very first sort of involvement in the first team when your first year. I think you were training with the first team quite quick in. What are your like early memories of training with like more senior pros and making that step up? Did you feel straight away comfortable, or was there a few players that you remember straight away thinking, I'm going to have to graft here a little bit?
It was one of the ones where when I first, obviously, like I said before, that I was very confident that I felt like I could play in that first team. Just obviously playing through under 19, I thought like, yeah, I could easily play in this first team. Then it was like training, then you had Nani who was there, you had like Matty Whitlow. So like them type of players obviously were my coaches, and obviously now, now I'm training with them. You can see, but then I saw from then like I've got a lot to improve in my game if I even want to get near any of these first team boys. So, and obviously, people like Ricky Shakes, Danny Wooders, who like always talk to me and try to keep me level-headed. It was hard, but they did their best. So I feel like I wouldn't be where I am now. I'd work for them too, especially.
Nice, mate. And Gaffer, what about, obviously you put him straight in and amongst the training set up initially, and I think you made a couple of sub appearances, or not appearances, but you were on the bench a couple of times in your first year. Then second year, obviously made a couple more appearances. But just talk us through like your obviously thoughts on him, like, and his development from that kid that was like started training to suddenly, like, how early did you think, yeah, now he can make an impact?
I think we've all spoke about it, especially myself, the management, with Sorba for his time, whether that's Terry Harris, Vic, now Dodsey, and obviously the chairman. He has premiership pace. He's always had premiership pace. Something that, no disrespect to any coach in the world, you can't coach. He's got unbelievable pace with the ball as much without the ball. And I think that shows his balance, his guile, his craft. And you alluded to a few players there, Sorba. I remember I felt it when you turned up and come into that group, you was kind of in awe to an extent to start with. And I felt that you probably, for the first time, you was a little bit more leveled in your approach. You know, in terms of coming into the elite squad, you knew you was the best player. You knew that. And there was a confidence as much as an arrogance. We spoke about it in terms of how you delivered in your sessions. But I felt that coming into the first team with the likes of Shakesy, Matty Whitlow, AJ, I believe, you're looking at personnel that are players that have played internationally as well as in the league. So, yeah, I think that was a grounding for you, which I was, it was humbling to see because I felt that you needed that. But in terms of, did I think he was a championship player as early as that? No, I knew that he could probably progress and play at a better level than the National League, but I know we'll touch on it and we'll go on to it. But yeah, his progression over that time was astronomical.
Yeah. Kane, what about, obviously, so your first year, Sorbs, obviously me and Kane weren't at the club. I think we joined more your second year. So you made a couple of appearances off the bench and obviously finishing with an appearance in the playoff final against Tranmere at Wembley. So talk us through that, mate. Obviously being in and around it and then suddenly making a couple of appearances and then coming on at such a big occasion for the club and obviously making an appearance at Wembley. Talk us through it.
The Wembley one is probably the one I'll never ever forget. I remember half time, 1-1. Then I remember everyone coming out. I remember the gaffer pulling me, and he was like, "Go get warm, like you're coming on." And it was like the excitement, but also I think that was the first time I felt nervous because I felt like, okay, 1-1, playoff final, and like the gaffer's like he's looking at me to try do something in the game. So I remember. I don't know how long I was on that touchline for. I literally just didn't want to go back to the dugout because I thought, if I go back to the dugout, he might not bring me on. So I opened the gate so many times. I've done so many sprints.
What was your groin?
And like, it literally came to the point, I was like, like when I thought, is he actually gonna bring me on? And then I remember he brought then obviously I saw Quigley, who was at the time, he then came on. I thought, like, does the gaffer know about it? Like, so like tried to like keep going back, like drinking water, try and get gaffer's attention, then try to run back. And then I remember Tranmere scored, and I just remember hearing Sorba. That's when I knew, yeah, I was so nervous, but I was so excited. When I got on the pitch, it was like, okay, now I'm on the pitch. Now I just want to touch the ball. Let me just touch the ball. Then I remember there was one moment in the game where I think we had a free kick, and I remember dropping so deep. I was supposed to play left wing. I dropped so deep just to get the ball off Brian. And I remember everyone was telling me to go, and I remember he kicked it. I started running.
I remember that bit.
He literally kicked the ball, and I just started running. And then I just hear everyone just shout, "Sorba, the ball's behind you! The ball's behind you!" So I'm literally like running back to get on the ball. And
I remember that.
It was flipping. But no, I'll always like remember that moment. And I felt like from then, I felt like I tasted it, and it was like, yeah, now I want to now get to another final, and instead of coming on as a sub, I want to come on as an actual starter.
Yeah, I remember you saying on our first one, like obviously that was a big like you thought to like getting in amongst it. Obviously that second year was obviously me and Kane were at the club, so we saw you in and out every day. Kane, what were your like? Do you remember any first impressions of Sorbs? Obviously just around the dressing room, what he was like, but then obviously as a player in that first year compared to maybe when we came back next summer, because I've got a few like, standout memories.
At first, I thought, Jesus Christ, he loves himself a bit because he come across so like arrogant. But I knew that there was a humble side to him as well. Obviously, we're being around the same age. That I spoke to him a lot, and obviously Bradley, who was his like best pal at the time.
Glad
leave
you
this side,
brought
I think.
brought up last
But no,
time.
yeah, 100%. You knew that he had something special in him. It was just, I think, and like the gaffer said, sort of building him up into that sort of mould of being a first team player and getting him minutes, because you knew that in training he had the talent to do it.
Yeah, no, I remember. So that year, the year you made the playoff final appearance, obviously you trained with us a lot, and then the summer, obviously, then so the third year you made I've got down here 34 appearances you made. So it's like your breakthrough in terms of being near enough a regular in a first team environment. That's your like breakthrough year. Obviously, as a club, wasn't a good year for us and the way that the season went. But I remember your development from like that year. I'm going to be totally honest. Like you trained with us a lot. It felt like you were like the good out of all the young kids, like the best kid. But then in the first team environment, all the good attributes, but it still felt like you were a kid in terms of decision making, or you felt like you could, but it wasn't quite there. Something would let you know, or you wouldn't make the right decision. Like all your like attributes were there, and then the next, like so you went away obviously in the summer. When we came back, I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
like you were suddenly like a first team player. Like you could just tell it was something it was like something that clicked. And it's easy to say now because you've obviously gone on to do, but I've said that loads of times before. And I remember saying it at the time to the other lads. I remember saying like, Sorba's like, he's just like gone to a new level. And it was like, you had still the same attributes, still quick, still good on the ball, but it was like decision making. You like had maturity. And then obviously from that year, we obviously then fourth year, we have another good year as a club, and you sort of take off again and again and again. But what I asked you a little bit before, but in terms of that, like summer, do you remember doing anything different, or did it just click? Did it just click for you, like when you came back after the playoff final appearance?
It was one, like I said, like it was after the Wembley year. It was for me. It like made me realise I want to be playing regularly for this team, and like I want to be a main player for this team. So it was like the pre-season after that, did a lot of work, but like you said, it was just everything was there, but it was just obviously decision making. I would still have that little short fuse where I'd have, say, one bad tackle on me and I would always react. And it was always, I still had a lot of growing up to do, but like I was still But then as I was playing, I was still learning from like a lot of you boys. I was still learning. But then I feel like then once now I've played, I got a few games under my belt. My name's now out there. And then I felt like the season after, it was now, could you play in the 10 role? Could you play up front? And it was like, because right wing back wasn't for me, if I'm honest. It wasn't for me. Because I felt like the left-hand side's always been my side. And the right-hand side, I felt like I was a bit limited to what I can do. And to be fair, I was just keeping it warm for Kane for when he comes back. But
I got to say something. You're talking about your development, your mind, your mentality, your learning. Didn't you become a coach?
Yeah, the best pace coach.
No, but seriously, it was a conversation you had with the chairman and myself, and we spoke about how much it would improve your game. The part of your game where I felt needed improving, your decision making, like not heading the ball back to Callum Reynolds on the edge of the box for a goal at Barney. You know what I mean? So, but do you understand what I'm saying in terms of you were teaching boys on a regular with your mate Champ, with your mate Kane, with Woody, and you're learning the game as you learn the game. And I think in your fourth year, that was a massive breakthrough for Sorba Thomas.
Yeah,
I think because you're around people that Champ's 300-400 games deep in the league. Woody 300-400 games deep in the league. These are people that you're continually working with on a daily basis.
Southern Prem?
Ryan, listen, you've done really well in that Southern Prem.
not senior, mate.
Yeah, you've got 5 stars on your chest because of it. But yeah, I think that was a massive catalyst for Sorba Thomas. Because, listen, your ability, no disrespect, I say it week in, week out, I'm not going to teach you, Cabs, Marshy, Junior Marias, Corey, how to do things when you land on a ball in the final third. Because you do it better than what I do. But the breakdown, the organisation, your body shape, Champ helps with that. Woody helps with that. Kane helps with that. And then coaching the Pace Academy was a massive breakthrough for you. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like that, I think me growing up massively come through the coaching. I felt like it matured me because it's like now I'm coaching boys that some of them may look up to me. They want to do what I did. So me being able to tell them the story of how I did it, because especially when you've got boys that got like probably even worse background than myself, like area-wise, like struggling to get in and stuff. It's one of the ones where they know like Champ obviously come through a pro system. Like a lot of these coaches all come from pro systems. I didn't come from one. I came from what they're doing now. So it's like when they could talk to Champ about what it was like and stuff like that. But then when to talk to me, it's about like, how did you do it? Like if you did have money, how did you get into training? How did you get into college? It's like there's a lot of boys that's got the talent, but mentally, there's like sometimes some of them I look at them and I see me. I see how I was. And it's like me now being able to teach them to not go the path that I did. Because instead of them getting 8 contracts and get it taken off, then get a contract, get it taken off, they can get a contract and keep it. And then possibly do better than I did. So, and then it's just humbling because it's like, you know, when you see some of the boys, it's like, yeah, they come from like rough areas, but it's like when they say that, they talk to me, say, oh, I look up to you, and like, how did you do it? When they ask questions like that, it's just like, it's very nice, it's very, very humbling. And I feel like that humbled me massively and matured me so much.
Definitely, mate. So then obviously going to your 4th year, as we said, we touched upon 3rd year, made loads of appearances. From a personal point of view, it was obviously a good year for you making appearances. As a team, we were in a bit of a transition. Then 4th year, we've regrouped. We went again, obviously ended up making the playoffs, and another step up for you in terms of appearances, but just performances. Obviously, Kano was then back, so part of it. So we had Kano right side, you left side, like the non-league Robertson and Trent on it. So you boys, you obviously you got on well off the pitch, like we did as a free, but you boys got on well, and obviously being similar ages and like making your sort of like stamp in senior football? Was there like a friendly rivalry between you two going into all those games and like egging each other on? Because obviously you're both flying in terms of confidence, starting games, having impact in games, and getting a first taste of it.
100% for me. Like, I'll be honest with you. When we used to do training, and a gaffer used to chuck the bibs about, and I always see I had a bib and Sorba didn't have a bib, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy's going to keep running. If I give him any space, he's going to keep running. I don't need that on opening Tuesday. My legs are gone. But no, 100%. Like, you knew at that period of time, it would better myself coming up against Sorba, because to be honest, I don't think there's anyone like him in the National League. You're not going to come against that in a game. I'm going to come up against it in training. So it was better for me in that aspect. Could it improve my defending? I think personally. But yeah, we got on really well. Obviously, we coached together. We both don't drive, so we got the training together. So we'd have our own little chats, if it was personal chats or even on or off the pitch. But no, now I loved him, and to me, he really grew up.
Now. You don't love him no more.
He's gone.
No, I love him. Of course I do. I still speak to him all the time. But we have our chats, and yeah, he really grew up as a person. I think personally in that last year, and I think he benefited from it, especially getting as many games as he did, and probably one of the best attacking wing backs in the league.
100%. Talk us through the obviously, because as Sorba has touched on, he could transition, he could play in different roles with his attributes, could fit in, slot in different places. Obviously, for us, when the switch happened and he went into that left wing back role and sort of made it his own. Talk us through your sort of your thinking behind that one, and then obviously the fact that he can play in other roles as well. But where did you feel like was going to be his best position?
His best position for me is left hand side of a free up top. That's Sorba, you'd agree? That's where you'd want to be. The lopsided free is the under 19s. You cheat when the ball's the other side. You get your switch quick, 1v1, that's your joy. Did I think you could do it in your first, second and third year as a 18, 19, 20-year-old? I don't think I did, because I didn't really play you there, Sorbs, in terms of left wing back. The transition happened when? Sorba, when? You're over the way. I remember they played the diamond, and they had the back four in the diamond. It was like, I've got the best 1v1 player. No disrespect to you, Kane. On your day, you're brilliant 1v1. I've got the best 1v1 player in the National League who's got a channel of 60 yards to build up his pace to go and 1v1. And then from then onwards, we didn't look back. And I have to say, I hope you don't mind me saying it, Sorba, I pulled you in pre-season this year, didn't I? And I said to you, I had a conversation with you, and I said, look, Sorb, I'm thinking about putting you back in that 10 role, because I think, who do I liken you to the whole time? In the 2-3 years, I've always said you are like
Josh Koroma.
So lo and behold, Josh Koroma, you both at Huddersfield. I believe that he had the same development as you. He had an unbelievable year at Leyton Orient where he scored 19 goals, set up 8-10 goals. He was a part of a 30-goal round assist and scoring. And I felt that you could go and bring that to your game. And I felt you did early on. And I felt, again, look what you did from the Canvey game onwards in that 10 role. We went 5 unbeaten with you in there. But you know what? It wasn't, I think your development here has been your biggest attribute by a country mile. Because before you never wanted to listen. And it's a skill. Listening's a skill, Sorba. To take information on is a skill. And I felt that you neglected that early on. Then you started to realise, no, actually, I need that information for me to develop. And I think you did, mate. And I don't think you look back after Yeovil. And I'd say Kay at Barrow's up there with you. But on your day, everyone said it. The best performance they ever saw was you away at Hartlepool. Remember that day?
Yeah.
You are frightening. And I remember reading forums and people and just saying that we've never seen a player play at that level in the National League since they've been in it 2-3 years. And you added to your game. Defensively, aerially, you've always been good. You know that. That's never been a weakness of yours. Aerially, you're very good. Direction of your headers need to improve, but we'll talk about it another time. But your organisation, your body shape, your recovery runs, yeah, I'd say that. If I said to you 3 years ago, I want to play you left wing back, what would your thought process be?
I'd be like, nah.
Yeah.
But you think now how good you'll be, because when you get your chance at Huddersfield, how good you'll be on the defensive side of things as a left-sided frontman. As a left-sided frontman.
Yeah, it'd be so much better, especially the way that Huddersfield play, especially for wide boys, is so much quality man for man. So literally, your fullback, especially nowadays with fullbacks as well, they like to be nice, high and wide. You've got a lot of tracking to do. Then you've got to be able to run forward. They say at Huddersfield, it's the hardest position to play, especially in the system that they play. And I think me doing the defensive work with yourself, Gaffer, with Kane, with Woody, with Femi, when you take me after the sessions, it's helped me massively defensive wise.
100%. Yeah, I was going to say the same, mate, because obviously you've been forced out your comfort zone. Like you said, if you weren't in that position, especially in the National League, and you could just sort of take a luxury of playing that wide role where just give me the ball, I'll attack, then you're sort of not, the fact that you've had a chance to be forced outside that comfort zone, knowing that if you're asked to, you can still take on that side of your game. Now that you're in an environment where you're going to be afforded maybe a little bit more of a luxury to be that attacking man, but knowing that you still can track and graft, I think that's a big feather in your cap, mate. But I want to get on to obviously your the move to Huddersfield, how that came about. But before we do, I feel like you've massively got away with people not giving you any stories or stuff that just you as a character in and around the club, what you're like, because it's all been very professional. If I was listening to this now, I'd be thinking, oh my God, he's like, he's the most switched on young kid going. Oh my God. He's got it all he had it all mapped out, all sorted from day one. Didn't know that you were a bricklayer with Brad, that you got a slush puppy business still on.
I forgot about that as well. And he loves walking in Memphis as well.
No, listen, we got to get onto that. But Kano, have you got any? I've got a couple of stories, but just like anything, just things about the most gullible person I've ever met.
I have one where I was injured at the time, but I remember in the meeting room, and I think he said he had like a headache or a migraine or something like that. And I don't know if it was Woody or someone, but they got the K-tape and said, if you stick it on your head, it'll go away. And there's a picture somewhere floating about, and there's a strap of back K-tape across his forehead. And I'm just thinking, what is this guy doing?
I can remember
what is he doing?
The reason I'm laughing is because I've got the picture, and someone's obviously called him, like, Sorbs, and he's turning round. He's turning round like that. And he's got like a big bit of K-tape there. He's like that. Big bit of K-tape on his head. Oh, mate.
Oh, that's up there.
That is definitely up there, mate. 100%.
You were gullible, Sorbs, honestly. But I have to say, what's that film? Dewey. He's like the Officer Dewey.
I've never seen
you're talking about Scream?
Yeah, Officer Dewey, and he makes out he's dumb, isn't he? Makes out he's dumb. Officer Dewey, and he walks around like this, and then the minute everyone's out of shot, he bowls out the shot thinking, yeah, I've got these lot on tape. That's you.
I feel like he would have his own reality TV show. Like Keir said it before, he would have his own TV show. Up there with Joey Essex.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's a great. No,
we say it all the time. Yeah, we used to say that, didn't we, all the time? Like following him around barking, just a day of the life of Sorba, just getting to training. I feel like getting to training would be most entertaining. Just the stuff that he would say.
He was brilliant. I've had some great times with him.
In the train.
Jumping the trains just to get it up. But that, mate, and then the slush puppy thing, because I remember this from like early on, because that was the first year I knew you. I knew Brad, obviously turning up with Brad, and then someone mentioned something about the slush puppy business, and I swear one of the first things I like talked to you about it, I was like wanted to find out, and I said something. I was like, oh, so how's it going, mate? Anyway, slush puppy business, and you were like, you were deadly serious, and you went, yeah, it's kind of good. Still, I done a funeral yesterday. And I was like, what do you mean? You're like, yeah, done a funeral, isn't it? And all I could picture, mate, was you with like big slush puppies, like a funeral. Like,
Loads of colour everywhere.
colour bursting everywhere, music going.
Oh God.
Get your slushies, hey, get your slushies.
No, mate, seriously though, how did that come about? Like, what was that? That was a serious thing because I remember you talking to, and it was like you actually did.
Genuinely would.
Yeah, it was just like, obviously my cousin just like, I don't know, I think he went to like an event and obviously he saw someone doing it and like getting like a lot of money for it. So he thought, oh, why not like, let me do it. So he bought like all the machines and stuff. And then he was just like to me like, do you want to get involved? I was like, yeah, like why not? And then like we started to go to like weddings and parties and then went to a funeral and it was like we're moving up in the world, like.
My thing is what person organising a funeral goes, I know what we need.
Ted loved the slushie. Ted loved the slushie. Look at him, he'd love that.
Oh God.
Mate, if it all goes wrong, just sprinkle a little bit of protein powder in them, take them around the changing rooms in Huddersfield.
Happy days.
Lap it up, mate. Little recovery drink. Love that. Right, mate, moving on, just run out of time. I want to keep it brief, but this is more for, I guess, Gaffer and for Sorbs as well. But tell us about how the move to Huddersfield came, like the interest or when you first knew about it and sort of, and obviously, yeah, the conversations and how that went.
Are we doing warts and all, Sorba? Are we doing warts and all?
Are we doing what?
Are we doing warts and all? It means, are we not leaving no stone unturned on the journey of how you got to Huddersfield? Are we being a little bit sensible with the conversation?
Nah, let her hear it. They deserve to hear it.
Listen, I won't go too far into it, but there was conversations between yourself, the club, the chairman, your agency, and there was one person that was consistent throughout. If I said the chairman, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Perfect. So we won't allude to anything other than that. There was interest. Knew there was interest, and it was written about in the papers, on websites, on forums, and obviously your story is very similar to Ben Goodliff. There was interest with Ben Goodliff at a League One, League Two side, and it was like obviously because it was the opportunity to be an EFL player. And it was very much the same mindset between you and Ben, and probably would have been me at 18, 19, 20. I want to go. And I have to say, I think the chairman's been consistent throughout, as you suggest. And there's a lot of people that the club know in football. And you've probably realised that now in the 2-3 weeks leading up to your move to Huddersfield. Fair to say that, Sorbs?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's drummed up a lot of interest, along with your ability. Don't get me wrong, Sorba, you was a massive catalyst of this reason why you went to Huddersfield. But it come out of the blue, Sorbs, right or wrong?
No, you're right.
They weren't really in the running. There was 2 or 3 other clubs that were in the running. There was one club that made an offer that you was aware about, and that was Charlton, which we were at that stage didn't believe they met our figures in terms of what we felt you was worth. And then I remember it one Saturday, Sunday evening, it was like, yeah, Huddersfield had tabled a bid. And the chairman's like, what's your thoughts? Dan, we've always agreed that we can't stand in the kids' way. And that was a conversation that we had, myself, you and the chairman, Charlie and the club, that we felt that if the offer was there that best suits you, the club, the chairman, we was always gonna make the deal happen. Fair to say that, Sorbs?
Yeah.
Then I'd say it's really over to you, mate. Obviously, your interest come. The agent would have told you. I can imagine it was quite a whirlwind in terms of from the first call to the medical, so on and so forth. So I'll let you take over now.
Yeah, I remember just sitting in the room, and then I remember the gaffer calling me, and he was saying, I'm going to add Charlie to the call. So obviously I'm sitting there thinking, that what's going on here? And then I remember Charlie telling me about Huddersfield or put a bid in. And literally, as soon as I heard the team, and then he said that looking to accept it, I was speechless. Like, I literally didn't know what to say. Like, I was literally just there quiet on the phone. I think they probably thought I hung up. I was literally
passed out.
Yeah. I just remember being so quiet, and then like I literally didn't have, I didn't know what to say, and then I just remember then obviously everyone was saying that they're proud of me and all that, and it was massive. Like I wanted literally after that call, I wanted to tell the world, I wanted to tell everyone, like I'm going to be in the Championship, like one league under the Premier League. That's where I'm going to be, and it was like, but it was just so like. It felt like it was so for real. Like I felt like I was dreaming. Like I just felt like, nah. Like where did that come from? Because I always thought that talking obviously to my agent, looking at stuff online and seeing all that stuff, I thought Charlton was where I was going. I thought, oh, so in January, that's where I'm gonna go. And it was literally, and then obviously when the gaffer where I said Huddersfield, it was like, where did that come from? And then it was just so surreal, and I was so grateful. I know that I was actually like slowly had a little tear like come down, just a little tear. And it was like, I remember afterwards, I called my mum, and I was like, Mum, she was like, yeah. I was like, guess what? She was, what? It was, I'm not a Boreham player no more. She was like, what do you mean? She goes, Mum, I've signed for Huddersfield. And obviously, she's like, where's that? I was like, Mum, it's all the way up north. In the Championship. So obviously, she didn't really understand about Huddersfield and like their big club. So I remember she took the phone downstairs to my brother, and she was like, someone's saying he's just signed for Huddersfield. And obviously, he knows who Huddersfield are. And he was like, he was crying. He was like in tears. Then obviously, he explained it to my mum who they were, showed them who they were. And like, she burst down to tears. And it was like, me, I don't do good with emotions. And it was like, on the phone, you could just hear her, like, you can hear her crying. You can hear everyone's crying. And it was like, then it just made it feel so real, because it was like, this is actually happening. And then it was all about now, it was just like a bit like a waiting. So it was like, when have I got to do the medical? Then at the time, obviously we had Millwall on the weekend. So it was like, am I playing in that game? Am I not playing in that game? And it was like, I remember calling my agent. He obviously told me again. Then I was like, look, I want to play in that Millwall game. Like, I want to play in that game. Obviously, everyone has their opinions. Obviously, as an agent, you wouldn't want anything jeopardizing the move. So it was all about, he was happy for me to play, but it was always about, what if you got injured? I mean, what if this happened? Where if this happened? But then I always said to him, I don't want to just leave. I want to end it on. And in that moment, I was like, in the interviews I did with the gaffer, when it was leading up to the Millwall game, it was always about, I want to be part of an upset. And I wanted to be part of that history team who will go down probably till next season when you lot do it again and go further. But it was just that once the game ended, it was like, I remember standing, like, we all was on the pitch, and I remember standing there, and I thought to myself, not one person in this team knows that was actually my last game. And I remember just looking at everyone, I was just thinking, like, to think that this is actually the last time I'm going to see all these boys. And then it started to get emotional. I was in the change room, like, everyone's obviously buzzing we just created history and stuff like that. And it was, in my head already, that's me. After 6 years, my time here is now done. And then it just literally, all the emotions started to build up. And it was like, once I go back to the room, it was tears were coming out. It was like, it's that my time at Boreham was done. And it's now time to start a new journey. So now going from the bottom, from Bournemouth up to becoming a main player in the team, to now starting all of that again, now being bottom of the food chain, to now having to work even harder to get to be a main player for Huddersfield. And then once the medical and all that, once everything was sorted, it was like, now it's time to work. Now it's like, it's done now. Everything's signed, everything's sorted. Now it's time to get in this team. And then doing all the analysis work and stuff like that, I knew it was going to be hard. But then in like 2 weeks of training, I mean, I get in the squad for Bristol City. So it's like, you can see that all my work I'm doing in training is slowly, it's working. I'm getting in the squad now, also in the squad on the weekend. And it's like, it's one of the ones, it's like, I feel stronger. I feel like even a better player. And I feel like my time is coming. It's just now a matter of patience, really. So that patience that I worked hard to get in Boreham Wood, I've now got to do that again to now wait for my time. Once I get my time, when my time comes, I just got to take it with both hands.
Nice, mate. Nice.
I'm talking to a different person.
No, how good is it? How good is it?
Brilliant, honestly. It's mad. The person I knew before to think now, mate, Sorba, you come a long way, mate, and fucking proud of you, mate. Well done.
100%. No, I'll back that. Yeah, no, good place to end it, mate. That was a nice place to end it. Perfect. Listen, we'll Kano, you're the only one that doesn't know about this. At the end of these chats, we do a little challenge, and it's the other two have got a head start on you, so I feel for you, mate. But I'll explain it to you. But it's basically, it's called Footballer Word Association. So you've probably played it before, but it's where if I said to you Harry Kane, you have to give me a footballer whose first name begins with E, as in the last letter of Kane. See what I mean? So Harry Kane and then E. I don't know, Elliot Ward. That's a random one. Then it would be D, Darren Ben.
All right.
Then it's T. So it's just, yes, it's a bit tricky, but you're with it, yeah. You know, do you want a little quick practice?
No, we'll go straight in.
Go straight in.
You have to take words off.
Love it, you.
That's what we want, right? So it's you three. So I'm not involved. So we'll start because Kano, you can start it. Then it would be Gaffer. Then it would be Sorba. Okay, and each if you've got 5 seconds in between. If you don't answer within 5 seconds, you're done, and then it's a head-to-head.
Perfect.
Okay, you can't repeat the same player, obviously, so no repeating, and don't do what Can did the other day and start us off with Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, but in saying that though, because I was supposed to be using a Z, but you just said now I could have used
An E. Yeah, it's the E.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, hang on. Did I get that wrong then?
Oh,
Yeah,
Jamie, killing me off here.
I think I
No,
prefer.
you're right. No, you're right. No, we did it the other way. No, you're right. Yeah. So
There's got to be the first letter.
Harry Kane, sorry, first letter. So Harry Kane would be K. So would be
K. So always a surname, yeah.
always the first letter of the surname. Yeah, I messed
Perfect.
that up. First letter. First
Right.
letter. My bad.
Am I starting? Am I?
Are we doing a practice or are we going straight to it?
Straight in.
We go straight in, but Kano starts us off. Kano, Gaffer, Sorba. So the first letter. Okay, first letter of the surname. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Come on.
Tony Hibbert.
Harry Kane.
Kaka.
Oh, you just K and K again, isn't it?
On me. Andre Pirlo.
What?
Andrea Pirlo. Can you say his first name, no?
No, come on.
But obviously first letter, so it would have been a K again because it was just Kaka, wasn't it? So it would have been a K again.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I thought it was the worst one.
your dumbness has gone into Kane sauce.
Right.
I've always had it, Gaffer. I've
Right.
always had it.
Right.
Kane, it's an unforgiving game. You're done, mate. It's Gaffer and Sorbs head to head.
His head's
That's
gone.
it. Kevin Kilban's come to my head now.
Yeah, you should have.
You couldn't wait to get Tony Hibbert is.
Yeah, I had to get him in.
Right.
Eden Hazard.
Harry Maguire.
Mark Bent.
Mark Ben.
B.
Who's that?
Marcus Bent.
Chap.
Marcus Ben.
Ben.
Yeah,
Marcus Ben.
Mark-
said
Inquiry.
Ah, Ben Godfrey.
No, hang on. Time out. Did you say, to be fair, on my signal, it sounded like you said Marcus. Did you say Mark?
Marcus.
No, Ben Godfrey.
No. I said Marcus Ben.
No. I heard Mark Ben. That's what I was saying. Who's Mark Ben?
Cut.
No, cut. That's that. No,
Have you done one?
can't have Mark. That's his cousin. He's a plumber. That's his
Bricklayer, actually. He's a bricklayer.
So you was my default, mate. You got that one correct.
He
but
works for Sack and Thomas Bricklaying.
Kane, I thought you were gonna. If that had come round, you were
The
fine.
host read the rules wrong, didn't he? So
Yeah. Can't get the staff, mate.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Love it, sauce. Hey, mate, congrats. Well, it's fitting that you should win, considering this last hour has been about you. Well done. No, boys, been a pleasure. Sorbs again, mate. Pleasure chatting to you again. Don't be a stranger now with your sock deals and your stuff.
Sorba 15.
Sorba 15. No, mate, been a pleasure chatting to you again, mate. And we all wish you all the best, mate. Just keep plugging away. You'll get there.
Cheers, guys.
Sorbs legend, mate. Well done, lads.
All the best, Joe. I'll see you on Warzone in a minute.
You're not wrong, mate.
Thanks for watching Champs Corner. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow our BW Pace Academy and First Team Instagram page.